Welcome to the Cyber Rants Podcast, where we're all about sharing the forbidden secrets and slightly embellished truths of corporate cybersecurity programs. We're ranting, we're raving, and we're telling you the stuff that nobody talks about in their fancy marketing materials, all to help you protect your company from cybersecurity criminals. And now, here are your hosts, Mike Rotondo, Zach Fuller, and Lauro Chavez.
Welcome to the Cyber Rants Podcast. This is your co-host, Zach Fuller, joined by Mike Rotondo and Lauro Chavez. And today we are going to kick it off like we usually do with cybersecurity news. Mike, what's happening in the world of cybersecurity today?
There's a lot going on right now. And, because it's been like 24 hours, we've gone a whole 24 hours without another form of malware coming out. But here we have Wellnest, which has started in Europe and is now moving to the U.S. It's a standard mitigation for these, but we got a new one, so look for that coming to you today. There is data out there about this. You just need to dig it up. So here we go from the next one. Hackers stole government source code from SonarQube instances. So the government, once again, is being hacked through insecure technology, mainly through SonarQube right now. They're working on locking it down. TrickBot is back. It's working through a Linux variant now, so your Mac isn't safe, your Linux box isn't safe, and it's still wreaking havoc on Microsoft. Attacks on IoT up to one-third. It's estimated up to one-third of infected devices now are IoT devices. That's your phone and so on. From another side that's not low tech, it's that physical security has a lot of catching up to do. Right now, there's some study into about physical security. They're talking about using the old school way of doing things, and now they want to leverage new things like biological or biometric data to manage physical security now. From the world of do we really want to hear this? The IRS is exploring using hacking tools because why not? It's 2020 and the IRS might as well start hacking us, right? There's a massive Nitro breach that impacts Microsoft, Google, Apple, and more. Nitro is a PDF format that these companies use. It also hit Chase. There are a lot of data exposed. And finally, because it hasn't happened soon enough, IE is dying. The Microsoft IE browser death march hastens, so they are starting to shut down IE access all over the world, which should be interesting for companies that support large end user populations. Laura and I can both think of a company that or several companies that used to be dependent on end users for most of their web traffic, and forcing those guys to the correct browser was always difficult. And so one more thing, the remote workers are ignoring training to open suspicious emails. Between 35 and 47% of all end users are just randomly opening suspicious emails because they're curious, which is not a good thing. So we'll leave it on that high note. So, Lauro?
Thanks, Mike. Interesting stuff. So, the biometric thing is kind of interesting because I always picture have you ever seen the movie Gattaca? Yeah, you're right. Where he goes in and you got to give a blood sample to even get in the building, right? It checks your DNA on the spot before it even allows you into the academy, and that's every day, right? You just go through a turnstile and you drop a blood and checks you out, and you move forward. So the level of hacking and forgery that had to occur has just always been. That's a really cool movie. If any of you haven't seen that yet, Gattaca, check that out. All right, so. Internet Explorer is going away, huh? Well, they're getting rid of Flash too, so I say it's a good week to start hacking crap software. Speaking of crap software, no offense, but Oracle is on the list of vulnerabilities this week. My gosh, they've got probably 15 or so critical and high vulnerabilities, and then another probably 20 or 30 mediums. So if you're running Oracle in any capacity, it doesn't matter what version it is, looking at those updates, there's a lot of remote code execution and other types of dubious activities that can happen if you're running Oracle, especially if you've got it exposed to your perimeter in the IOT. Red Hat's on the news this week for vulnerabilities. There's a Flash plug-in for Red Hat, which I think is funny. Anyways, but yeah, so before the end of it all goes away, go ahead and patch your Red Hat for the Flash so that your users can check that out for the final month. And then Cisco XR, the discovery protocol format string vulnerability is out there, and so you can kind of you can cork that protocol string and send it back, and it ends up bad. So if you're running Cisco XR, go ahead and check that update as well. And of course, Mozilla Firefox, lots of stuff going on with Mozilla. So if you're running the Mozilla browser, go ahead and update that. And while you're at it, go ahead and uninstall Internet Explorer and save everybody the time. That's it for me.
Should have had Internet Explorer uninstalled years ago, I think, in my humble opinion. But for those people who are just joining us for the first time or haven't listened in for a couple episodes, we have been doing a series that's actually information from the book Cyber Rants, but we took a chapter out of it. It's called 8 Steps to Implementing Your Cybersecurity Program. And so this is really designed for those business leaders that have that burden of responsibility to build or implement a cybersecurity program for their organization, but haven't done it before, or doing this for the first time, maybe don't even have a background in it. So we first talked about obtaining leadership support, and then we talked about understanding your current risks and vulnerabilities as they stand today. It's really the first 2 steps. And so the next step is really just to define a path to a proactive security posture, right? So you really need a written, documented roadmap, a plan of action to get this done, right? And that's the thing about cybersecurity, right? It's not a magic solution that people just come up with. It's really, there are a lot of industry standards, accepted best practices, a lot of good information out there. So it's not about reinventing the wheel or just having some smart technical person just kind of make things up as they go, right? It's a very, very methodical process. So we'll dive into a little bit about that today, building a plan of action, a roadmap forward. Mike or Laura, any comments, any best practices you'd recommend right off the bat?
Yeah, get good at writing and smooching the tailcoats of your bosses, because this is, while it sounds simple and it's really easy to build a roadmap or a Gantt chart or however you choose to display your information and needs, right, on how you're going to obtain this proactive posture. Because where we're at, right, is you got leadership support. All right, the bosses are like, yeah, we need cybersecurity, of course. And you get the risk assessments done, and now you know where all the holes in the house are. And so now you're going to write that proactive plan that's going to get you to that secure computing model that you want to be at, right? To a place that, again, there's no magic recipe. It's per organization and per the amount of risk that every organization is willing to accept or not accept. So you're going to find that, that apex in your own home, and you're going to try to make that your goal. And so in this piece of it, where you're building out, you got the risk assessment findings, and they found all kinds of stuff, and you need people, you need process, you need documentation. There's going to be tools that you're going to need to buy, probably, if you don't have them already, or you're maybe going to need to source some free software that's out there that might suit your purposes, or try to structure something in-house with some maybe resources that are crafty with Excel spreadsheets and SharePoint sites. So, but this is really where I think when I told you to put your lipstick or your chapstick on, whichever you prefer, is that you're going to have this whole chart laid out, and you're going to need to then take it to budget, right, Mike? I mean, that's kind of the next step, right? Once you have the whole plan, it's like, okay, we got to do these 3 things. If we're not going to, the 3 of us can't do this it'll take us 5 years to do this. Or if we want to do it the next year, we're going to need these certain things, these certain technologies, these practices in place. And that's all going to be stuff you're going to be taking back to that board meeting and saying, I need money, right?
Exactly. And I'm sorry, I'm still reeling from the fact that Zach said we're not magic, because I think we are. So.
Yeah, I thought so too. Like, how are you going to insult your teammates like that, Zach? I mean, you see us watch risk disappear. I mean, that's magical.
No hard work for you, man.
Trying to be humble, I mean, I don't want to We want to let people know that that really is our secret sauce, is magic. So apologize for that, but now that it's out there.
40 hours, but it really takes us 2 minutes to write the spell. And
Yeah, just keep depositing my golden green guts. That's all I ask.
Exactly.
I've seen Mike write a policy set in 5 minutes flat, start to finish, from scratch.
Go into a trance, Scotch-induced trance, and it's all good.
Yeah. Your keyboard was so hot after that, I couldn't even touch it with my fingers. Like, remember Zach, we were roasting sausages over his keyboard after that 5-minute document. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, Mike let out the secret now. It's Scotch. It's got to be a good Scotch, too. Oban, or Talisker, to be exact.
That's the same thing Batman uses to keep him in a good mood. So, anyway, one of the key things to defining the path to proactive posture, which is going to, branch outside of security, is also you need a business impact analysis, which is going to require conversations with all the stakeholders in your security posture, which is basically everybody, right? So it's from sales to accounting to, what else you have, marketing, communications, and even the physical building staff when people weren't working remote, because you got to understand what needs to be protected, what needs to be spun up first, what needs to be, what are in fact the key pieces to make your company run. It's not necessarily email. It's not necessarily your website. There are back-end systems that are maybe far more critical. So you need to understand what to protect first, and that's where the business impact analysis comes in, and that's one of the things that we need to do as far as establishing your baseline. It gives you a good place to start. So I guess the thing here is that security is a holistic whole company thing. It is not solely based. The security team is the driver of it. Actually, top management is the driver of it, but security team is the people on the ground driving it from that point forward once they have their marching orders. But the whole company owns it. And what a lot of things is forgot, it's not the CISO that owns it. It's the CEO and the board that owns the risk. So that's where that needs to be. That's where the effort and the pressure needs to come from. So do the business impact analysis, and then you'll be able to define a plan, and then you'll be able to go from there, and you'll be able to track, your trajectory as you go forward. You'll be able to say, this is gone, this is gone, this is better, this is worse, and so on. So I think that's
well, I mean, I agree with you, man, but I mean, they're still going to have to ask for stuff at this state, right?
Oh, no, I'm not saying that, but you got to have the BIA in place first.
Oh, you got to have the BIA. Oh, yeah. Certainly not disagreeing there. Yeah, no, you certainly need to have your BIA. You need to have your roadmap. You need to have, or Gantt chart or whatever, right? When you bury into your little hand down the hallway of slaps.
Yeah.
And that's probably what's a good segue for step 4, which is build alliances across business units, because it could be the middleware team that kiboshes your whole security endeavor.
Right. Yeah. One of the key things too is that you need a solid project manager running the show, and that's a lot of time that's forgotten. You need an overall project manager, program manager, whatever you want to call them, to run this show. As far as making sure milestones are hit. But yeah, building the alliances piece, that is the next. These are kind of like, step 3A and 3B rather than 3 and 4. I mean, to be honest with you, the way I see it.
Yeah, you almost want to do them in parallel, because, having those parallel departments kind of on your team for the changes that you're trying to make, because, let's just get real here. Okay. Cybersecurity professionals often called cyber cops, right? I mean, we come in to make changes, and IT admins don't like us because now they can't log in with their admin accounts and use it all day long. And, little changes that are cultural really, but, kind of impact everybody's experience and the holistic culture at work.
Right.
And so the more that you can massage that message into your parallel departments that you need, right? I mean, you need them on your side. The better off you're going to be when you go to the board with a plan and ask for money, because there might be some places that you can even toss tools, as an example, or toss work. So, we were talking about the middleware team kiboshing your whole endeavor, right? So you can have this big goal of making all these changes, having the secure computing model put in at your company, and you go about, I guess, I don't want to call it campaigning, but I mean, it really is. It's going to be an internal campaign. And if you miss certain parties and they feel left out, they're going to douse you with red paint or whatever color they're choosing. And that's going to ultimately end up not in your favor. And so, there might be cases where if you can make, good parlay with these organizations, then you can say, hey, look, in this middleware region, we know that you're using, tool A, and right now you don't have the security modules purchased for tool A. We would like to see you do that. We're willing to, pay part of it from our budget, and we'll also monitor and help you configure it. But we just need you to be on our team when we go and ask these questions, right? Because we're going to need money. We need to add, need you to add that to your budget for requests for the next quarter.
Yeah.
Would you say that's kind of accurate, Mike?
Yeah, no. And if you can come to them with a list of tools, do an inventory of security tools first and say, we don't need this. We don't need this. This hasn't been logged on in 3 months, but we're still paying for it, or 3 years and we're still paying for it. You can come to them and say, look, we can cut savings here. We can create money, budget here if you do this, this, and this. That helps your case too. Because, we've both been in companies and I'm sure many of the listeners have been in companies where you got more tools than you know what to do with. And
redundant tools.
Oh yeah, redundant, and then tools that are only 10 or 15 or 20% deployed, that have other modules. They provide free training and support and all this kind of stuff. And, the next management team or security team or, whiz bang security guy comes in and said, oh, we have to have this tool. And then it never gets deployed properly.
Nope, it never gets deployed properly, never gets managed properly, never gets matured properly, and now you just got another sinkhole of money sitting there.
Right.
I mean, it might as well be like an 85 Fiat sitting in the garage as a project,
Right. And nobody tells accounting to stop paying the bill, the renewal. So
Wait a minute. But on all of these tool companies' websites, they promise that tools answer all the problems and make companies secure. Are you telling me that's not true?
Well, it's true in the case of one particular product that I'm not going to say the name of, but it is artificially intelligence driven. And the Department of Defense is made by a wing of the Department of Defense. And it was actually sent to the Department of Defense for them to put it in and have this piece of artificial intelligence, cybersecurity technology go through their network. What it does is it finds vulnerabilities and patches them for you. It makes the decisions for you to build a secure system, right? It's literally Skynet on your network. And so it has two modes of operations, like most intrusion detection mechanisms that that technicians would be familiar with today, right? They've got the detect only, and they have the prevention piece, right? Where now we're stopping attacks, right? WAFs do it too. They would never put the AI. It's been in the organization. It was in the organization for 6 months. They never turned it to auto mode. Basically, it was only in manual. So it would find problems and report back to the team on what they needed to do. They never let it go patch itself. So if the Department of Defense doesn't even trust the own technology that they built for themselves, then yeah, I'm pretty sure that nobody else in the market's going to be able to build a tool that anybody's going to trust. You need people. You got to have human expertise, right?
Well, and we don't need to usher in the era of Skynet any sooner than is going to happen, right? We don't need Hal from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
I have this theory. Well, no, I don't know. I mean, I don't think the robotic age is going to be all. I mean, have you seen what human hair does to your vacuum cleaner? Can you imagine? Can you imagine the robot army of the future, like just in a big hairball? Yeah, because they killed like New York City or something. You know what I mean? And they try to walk through, and they're all just tied up in their own destruction. Yeah. So I'm not too worried about it.
Well, I don't know, man. It didn't work out well in the movie Aliens. So, with the robot. So who knows, man? It'll be an interesting thing to see for certain. But
you talking about Bishop? Bishop was a nice guy.
In Aliens, yeah, but not an alien.
Oh yeah, that was the first. AI. That guy. Well, he was programmed with other instructions. Right. That overrode his ability to be kind to humans. Right. He was supposed to keep that life form. Right. And so the Bishop in Aliens, which I think that's one of the better movies of the series. Certainly he helped save her at the end. So actually did. Yeah. He came to get her when when she was trying to kill the queen. Anyways, tangent. Sci-fi people. Apologies.
I think we've learned, really, really back to building alliances across business units Teamwork makes the dream work. Everybody should have that motivational poster on their wall. It'll make all the difference, I promise.
Is that the one with the cats?
I think it's the one with the chain links.
Yeah.
I don't remember. There's so many of them. There's some really, really great ones out there. But if that doesn't work, it gets down to a deeper question. What's the corporate culture, right? Is it a me culture, or is it about a team as a whole, and more selfless service? And that's a much deeper discussion than we have time for today, but I'm sure we'll get more into that in future episodes. But great stuff today. We will be back next week with some more information. We will continue our series, but for now, have a great week, and we will connect again soon.
Pick up your copy of the CyberRants book on Amazon today. And if you're looking to take your cybersecurity program to the next level, visit us online at www.silentsector.com. Join us next time for another edition of the CyberRants podcast.